Welcome to I Am Well podcast. I am your host, Gemma, a nutritionist and mindset coach passionate about all things health and wellness. I'm going to take you on a journey to discovering what health means for you and how to create a life you love living. I'm on a mission to uplift those who feel overwhelmed with what it means to be healthy, reminding you, my listeners, that nutrition is only one aspect of health, and empower you to live your best life on your terms. Let's get to it. Hello everyone, you're listening to I Am Well podcast. Before we get stuck into today's episode, I just wanted to remind you all that there is 1 week left. If you want to work with me one-to-one in 2024, you only have 1 week left to sign up. I will no longer be taking one-to-one clients for the rest of 2024. So if you are dying to take this opportunity, work personally with me to actually end up creating those results that you really wanted to get to in 2024, then you literally have 1 week left to sign up. On that note, there's also Balance, my 3-month group program that has officially opened for intakes, and you now have a month to sign up. However, I do recommend signing up early so that we can choose the best time for the Zoom sessions for the group as a whole. Also, you have starter packs, health journey starter packs getting sent out to you in the post. So if you want to get that in time to start by the 1st of July, highly recommend signing up early. The link for that is in the show notes below. It's going to be an amazing journey together, and I can't wait to create this community of like-minded women all there to uplift and inspire each other. And I'm excited for you to get your health starter kits too, because they're just pack loaded with such good tools to get you started. My journals, there's going to be the workbook, there's the LMNT sachets, supplements to help you with your fast, and so much more. So get in now. Link is in the show notes below. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you have a week left to sign up. But on that note, I will jump straight into today's episode. We have a wonderful guest on with us all the way from America. So I hope you enjoy. Welcome back to I Am Well podcast. Today I have on a special guest with me. She is a doctor of health and human performance, born and raised in North County, San Diego. So we've got someone overseas here today. Has been personal training for 14 years and coaching since 2007. She's certified from the National Academy of Sports Medicine and National Exercise and Sports Trainers Association as a master trainer and a professional natural bodybuilder. She holds so many titles as corrective exercise specialist, a drug and alcohol fitness recovery specialist, fitness nutrition specialist, as well as a wellness coach and lifestyle and weight management specialist. She's also a world champion natural bodybuilder and author of 6 books. Plus, she's built her own app. Literally so many accolades there. So welcome, Dr. Megan McCullough.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Literally so many. I was doing a lot of my research, looking into what you've been doing, and wow, like you've done so much. You've been busy.
Yeah, keeping busy.
You started back in like 14 years ago. Is that correct? Is that when you first got into the fitness industry?
Yeah, so I got my master's in physical education and health, and I wanted to be a teacher. That was like my original game plan. And it was tough to get a PE job here because obviously like they were cutting those courses. And then the year that I got my certification in health to teach health, they no longer had health in the curriculum. So I kind of reached this point of like, well, what do I do now? And I would go to the gym every day after the school day ended, and I would go work out, and the manager at the gym like literally recruited me while I was working out, and he said, well, you have to get this certification, and most people have to study for like 6 months. And I said, okay. And I took it 2 weeks later. He didn't really know that I was like, I went to school for this.
Oh my
And
God.
so then I came back in with the certification and started in the corporate world. And I worked there for about 2 years and got up into the management level. And then I decided to open my own studio. And now I've had my own facility for 13 years.
Wow.
So that's been pretty amazing. And I had the same location for 12 years. And then I live in North County, San Diego. As you said, it's called Oceanside.
Hmm.
And so just this last year, I was blessed to buy an outpatient addiction treatment center. And I became the new owner of that. Well, right next door was a Pilates studio. And it was like a dream come true. In one building, I'd have both my businesses. But I was really scared. Like, you have all this clientele. Are they going to follow you? Are they going to? And it was such an upgrade. And I didn't lose one single client. They all followed me here. And I can literally look out my door and see the pier and the beach.
Oh,
So it's very special to me. And, it took 12 years, right? But when you stick with something, um, you know, your dreams can come true. And that's one of the things is that a lot of people start whatever kind of journey it is in life, be it career or health or fitness or, addiction and sobriety and all of those things. And they kind of quit too soon. They don't
yeah.
realize it's a long way to the top. And I really feel that perseverance is important no matter what you're doing.
I completely agree. I do. I feel like especially nowadays, we're in a society like where it feels like we can get everything so quickly, so fast, like at ease. Like you can literally order
Mm-hmm.
Uber Eats. Everyone wants a quick fix. So it's really hard to find that motivation to just keep going, keep persevering. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so it's amazing that you just kept going. When you first started, because you were personal training for someone else, right, within their
Mm-hmm.
business, when
Right.
how long did it take you to first start up your own?
Well, I was kind of in between substitute teaching and personal training.
Yep.
And so I did that for like 1 to 2 years, kind of like this back and forth. Um, America and corporate America is very difficult to work through, right? Because at that time I had a master's degree in education and I was being paid minimum wage. And that's kind of where I was like, well, I'm working a lot of hours and although I'm able to help people, I'm very restricted in what I can do because I'm in this large gym where all that really matters is how much I sell, not how much I'm helping someone. And so that's kind of where I felt like in order for me to grow and in order for me to help and reach people, I'm going to have to step out of this and get uncomfortable and take the risk to open my own place. And I was only like 25, 26 when I did that. So having the financial ability to do that was also something that I had to consider. And fortunately, I found a building owner that was willing to take such a young candidate. And then I stayed there for 12 years. So it was definitely worth his while to let me do that.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's just incredible. Like 25, like it's like that's so daunting at that age to start up your
Mm-hmm.
own and just go for it for yourself. But as I've seen myself, you now have many clients with you. And as you said, you've opened up a new place, an outpatient area where your clients have also followed you to. So it's obviously been successful. As I was reading, you've had a lot of different types of roles, I guess, that you help your clients with. But one of them that came up, and I know you've written a lot of books, but you have written a book around this, is drug and alcohol, and the lifestyle with that. I was just wondering, like, what made you get into that area of health?
Sure. So, right after I graduated college, I played basketball in college. So I moved to another state, Colorado, and then I moved right back when it was over. And unfortunately, my mother became an alcoholic when I was about 11, 12 years old. And it just kept escalating. And as I got to about like 19, 20, it was kind of at its peak. And I came home. I graduated college early, actually. And for about 6 months, I got to spend time with her, although she was thick in her addiction and it was messy and chaotic. One morning, one afternoon, I came home on my lunch break and I found her body. Unfortunately, she had lost her life to alcoholism, and that kind of fueled my passion for reaching that special population. And so, as much as my life has been revolved around fitness and athletics, I kind of combined my passions, and all of my research has been the influence of exercise on substance abuse addiction. And so you can see how the two come together. And so I do a lot of like the treatment center, that's in honor of her. I have to me, the symbol of her is a butterfly. And we let butterflies go at my wedding in honor of her and in her spirit. And I actually was just super blessed by the city to get a mural painted on the side of my building, and it
Oh,
has two butterflies on it, and then it has a couple pugs. So I've always had pugs, and
oh,
so that's really special. So it's just taken a lot of work, and it's come full circle, and so that's where I'm at. So I I became the owner of the treatment center, bought that business, and then moved my business here. And I kind of get to help both of the populations now. And it means a lot. So, like I said, I did my research for my doctorate in that subject matter. And then it was published into a textbook that, some schools use. And so the other books that I've written, I have one that's called Biceps and Butterflies, which is, biceps and the butterflies are her spirit. And so each of my books have that kind of element in it. And then I have some children's books, which are about pugs. So,
yes, you have. I think I've noticed you have two. Is it two pugs?
yeah,
Personally?
I have two pugs, and their names are Steve Nash and Scottie Pippen. And those are basketball players. So now you get it because I played basketball. And
Yeah, I love that. Is it two children's books that you have on the pugs?
I do. So, I have two. One is about a pug bodybuilder, and then one is about a pug basketball player. And I actually have one that any day now it's going to pop up on Amazon. It's on Amazon now, but it's like not available for sale yet. So I just obsessively check it until it pops up on there. But it's called June Pug Says No to Drugs. So it teaches kids, um, to say no to drugs, and then the difference between drugs that can help you and drugs that can hurt you. And just there's different activities in the book all about that. So I've actually written 11 books.
Oh
So
my goodness.
then I'll be done for a while. But then
Wow.
I'll say I'm done, and then I'll do it again. So
I love that. Yeah, I'll have to get the links from you and I'll put them in the show notes below. So if anyone's interested, they can have a look at the books that you do have up on Amazon at the moment. I love pugs. They're so cute. Your two pugs are so cute.
they're the mascots at the studio, and then sometimes they walk next door and hang out with the patients too. So
Oh, that's so cute. And I love the symbol of the butterfly and how you got that mural painting. That's just beautiful. Um, just to clarify again, so you've got these two centers now. What kind of programs do you do with your clients? Like what's one center for like do you
sure.
still do personal training and then what's the other center kind of for? Like what do you do? What do you offer your clients?
Sure. So the personal training studio, it's called Everybody's Fit because I believe that everybody is capable of becoming the best version of themselves. So that was the name of my fitness studio. And I offer small group, which, you know, small group training or private one-on-one training. And I help people of all ages, all abilities, all levels. I also focus on like medical fitness as well. So maybe you have a condition like Parkinson's disease, or you're coming back from an injury. I actually work with mostly middle-aged and older adults. The senior population is kind of my niche. That's not something that I like set out to do, but that's who I connect with and help the most. I think they just feel, that they can trust me and the programming that I'm doing for them. And, we build a good relationship. Um, and then, I do help persons in recovery as well. So there can be people in a small group setting and they have no idea that other people are in recovery. But there's so many benefits to exercise to help you as a tool as you're trying to, be abstinent from whatever, your drug of choice is.
Mm-hmm.
So then next door, the business is called Mindful Bodies Recovery. And so the bodies in that stands for behavioral outpatient discovering yourself. And so we offer outpatient addiction treatment. So that means you could come for partial hospitalization or you could come for outpatient. So depending on what your insurance is or your severity of the level you're at in your addiction, is you can either come for 3 hours a day or 6 hours a day. There's also like telehealth. So there's 2 psychiatrists and a behavioral therapist on staff. And so it really just matters. It's an individualized program for what you need, but it's not where you would stay overnight and be in like a residential treatment center. It's coming, a lot of times it depends on what your insurance will cover, or
Mm-hmm.
some people do choose to pay out of pocket. So it just depends. Like I said, it's an individual case by case. And what sets us apart from other places would be that we offer dual diagnosis. So we don't just treat the addiction side of it, we treat the mental health side of it too. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes you'll go somewhere where they're just targeting, right, the addiction and just the focus is to make you just stop using. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why you were doing this in the first place. And so we gotta dig deep and get some of those feelings out and figure that out,
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to resurface and you're always vulnerable to relapse. So we want to try to nail those triggers and get rid of them, to just help you um, be sober and clean as long as you can. Um, so, and then some of the patients within their program, they'll come over and be in a small group. And so again, you wouldn't even know, right? Because we want to have confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's kind of like a place where my other clients in like the general population, they know, but they don't say anything because they're like, this is so cool.
Yeah, no.
So it's everybody just, I really believe in diversity and community, and that's what makes my studio such a special place,
Mm-hmm.
because it doesn't matter if I'm using 10 pounds and you're using 20 pounds, we're both here bettering ourselves. And so I think that's what a lot of people are drawn to, is that it's just a very comfortable place
Mm-hmm.
and it matters if you show up or not. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I know for myself, there's been many times where if I want to go to a gym or something, I find it very daunting because, like, I find if I'm working out, you just get into that mindset of like, everyone's looking at me, they're judging me. Am I
mhm,
doing this exercise wrong? Like, and obviously, most of the times they're not, but you can't help but have those human thoughts. Um,
right.
so I love that there's an idea about it that it doesn't matter at the end of the day. We all have a common goal, just to be healthy and work on ourselves.
Mhm,
Um, that's amazing. Everything you're doing is just incredible. For the people, say if there is someone like listening to this and they're going, they're listening to this and really resonating with recovery, with
mhm,
any or with any sort of drug of their choice. I like how you said that, because sometimes it's not always just alcohol. It could be like anything. Sometimes things
mhm.
people use as a tool to overcome something that's going on in their life. What would be like something that you could like recommend or help them with just to start off right now? Like, I know going to a gym might be a first daunting step, but is there anything that they could do right now, any tools that they could use to kind of just begin the journey, just to get them to start, take the first
Sure.
step?
Well, there's multiple ways that you can take the first step. So the key is that you have to find, it could be group therapy. So that might be attending something like an AA meeting or an NA meeting. And that can even be done over Zoom. They do offer those. Um, I personally believe that connecting with your higher power is really important. So I know that I'm a Christian and I pray to God, and that's what, the serenity of that is what is a foundation for me. That's not always true for others, but I do believe that we each believe in some source of higher power. So you can kind of get in touch with that
Mm-hmm.
and pray for guidance and direction and discernment of where to go and what to do. Um, you can also, explore behavioral therapy. So go talk to someone. Um, in a, it can either be in a one-on-one setting or it can be in a group setting. Um, those are important. And if you need to make a call to a recovery center, one of the things that we do is that, let's say that you called us and we don't take your insurance. We would refer you to at least two other places that would, right? Because you need help
Mm-hmm.
and you made the call and we're not going to just hang up, right? That's the least we could do.
Yeah.
Um, so exercise, to be clear, is a tool during recovery. It cannot replace those standard modalities of help. It can help you sustain sobriety and being clean, but it cannot replace something else.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's what can help, get you up in the morning, keep you away from happy hour at night. There's lots of benefits to it, but you really need to find, you know, resources that are going to address, you know, the root cause of
Mm-hmm.
what this problem has become, because we can turn to family members and we can turn to friends, but we can't put that responsibility on them, right? We have to do it for ourselves. And as much as I mean, in all our lives, we all know someone, right, who has at one point struggled with an addiction, or, maybe we've had a relationship with someone, friend, family member, whatever it might be, coworker. Um, it destroys relationships. It really does. And so we have to do this for ourselves because we can't change anyone else. We can only take responsibility for our own actions. And just owning that, when you get to a place of owning that, that's where the change starts to happen. And that's the same to be true for fitness and health, right? Nobody can do it for us. We have to take ownership of our own body and who we want to become. No one else is going to do it for us. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, we do live in a world of instant gratification, right? Just because I called someone for help doesn't mean tomorrow I'm never going to use drugs again. Just because I called personal trainer and went one time doesn't mean that I'm going to be in shape now. And there's a slew of things in this world that can tempt us to say that, if you take this or if you do that or this diet or that it's going to happen in 30 days, but it's a lifestyle change. Any way you go about it, it's got to be a lifestyle change, and you take it one day at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a powerful message. Because it is. It's hard to make that the first step, because it's not going to be that instant gratification. It's going to be work, and it's going to be consistency. Um, I just wanted to quickly ask, because you mentioned group therapy and one-to-one. Have you found within your line of work and what you do, does one work better than the other? Do you find group settings work better than one-to-ones, or like vice versa?
Again, there's not a one size fits all approach. It's just definitely an individual case by case. Some people can go to group therapy or be in a group workout and never say anything at all, right? You
Mhm.
don't have to speak. You don't have to talk to anyone that you're working out next to, right? But most times you build a level of comfort in the right environment that you
Mhm.
will open up and share. But sometimes it's not always the first few times that you go. But that's not to say you're not getting something out of hearing someone else's story, or hearing the person that is leading the group. Though you're going to connect to something there. It doesn't mean just because you didn't talk doesn't mean you're not benefiting from it. Just because you came and worked out and you were in your own little element, you still benefited from the workout, right?
Mhm.
But most people thrive on human interaction, right? And it's our shared stories and experiences that allow us to open up, right? So if you're in a group therapy session and you hear someone else and they talk about how, their marriage is on the rocks and they've just been, going through a hard time, and your partner doesn't understand your addiction, and they get mad and frustrated, and you hear someone else saying that, you go, wait, I'm feeling that too. And then you can connect with someone there too, so you feel like you're not alone.
Mhm.
In most of my group training sessions, like, people become besties. It's like they find a newfound friend, because we all go through periods in life of when we choose to be healthier than other times. And food is a drug, right? Anyone in this room can exercise with me, but man, it's that fork and that spoon that are the trouble for
Yeah.
everyone, right? And you can connect with people about just that. And then you can talk, and class becomes much more enjoyable, right? When you see your friend waiting at the door for you to come in and find a spot next to them.
Yeah.
So but one-on-one setting is also great too. In a one-on-one setting, I'll say that even in therapy, like, you get into the nitty-gritty, like, you get deep into things, because you just have it's like the attention's all on you, right? In a personal training setting, we might be able to focus more on your specific goals and your specific needs. For some people, it could be that they're not social. For some people, it could be that they don't do well in a group environment, they're more introverted. Or, like you had mentioned before, they just feel like everyone's watching them, which
Mhm.
is definitely not true here. But if you feel that way, you feel that way. So it doesn't matter what, you're always going to feel that way. And then also, I have, um, people who have a hip replacement, or spinal fusion, or, a torn knee. It's like, I can help you in a group setting, but I can really help you in a one-on-one setting because you have specific needs. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the difference. But I really, in a group or in one-on-one, I think that either way, that movement is medicine. And so being here is just important.
At the end of the day, yeah, I agree. I will just go quickly into it. You've been a natural bodybuilder. You've done many competitions.
Mhm.
Are you still doing competitions at the moment? Do you still do them?
I am. I have one June 1st, locally, and then in July I go to New Zealand for
Oh,
Team USA.
wow.
So that's really exciting. So yeah, I'm like in the thick of prep right now.
Right.
Brain fog's going, all of it.
So what does it mean to like be in when you're preparing for a bodybuilding competition? Like what's the difference between when you're not?
Well, it kind of feels like I always am. Training wise, I'm always training for it. Eating wise is where it might change a little bit. Because I do this for a living, I don't have to have this like crash and burn, like extreme months of, no carbs and weight loss. Like, I'm always like right there. It's just like the last 6 weeks, I'll make some adjustments to my diet.
Mhm.
And those can leave me a little fuzzy up here, or, just a little. It's finding kind of fuel in the tank when there's not a whole lot there. It takes a lot of mental toughness. Um, but I definitely sleep a lot harder when I'm going through this. Um, so, and one of the really important things too is that I do natural bodybuilding. So you do get um, tested for performance enhancing drugs. So we call them PEDs. And one of the reasons I do that, when I originally got into bodybuilding, it was like many of my clients said, "How can you ever do that? Like, It's like you could just walk up there and do it. And I'm like, no, I've seen like the Arnold Schwarzenegger and all of those things, and I'm like, they take things to help them get to that level. And I go, I have the gene. I have an addictive personality. Clearly, I do nothing in moderation in my life. So for me to step into that realm it's dangerous, right? That's not, water I should be in. And I had that was back when I was doing the corporate. And so I had a coworker who said, well, there is such thing as natural bodybuilding. I'm like, really? And that's how I fell into that. And I did very well with it. So it's just about clean eating and training hard. And obviously it aligns with all of the things that I preach. So otherwise I'd be quite the hypocrite to be using instant gratification, and going up there and doing that. But for bodybuilders who do choose to do that, they still have to put in the time and the work. It's just definitely a different approach, and that's okay, to each their own, right? There's pros and cons and risks to everything that we choose in life.
Mm. Yeah. Is there an actual title, like a different title for like natural bodybuilders? Like, do you actually go into a different competition, or is it you just call
Yeah,
it?
so there's organizations. So you would know when you register for the show.
Yeah.
I would register for any organization that's natural. Those that don't, I would just not, be
Right.
part of.
Okay. I never knew that. I never knew there was like separate ones, like there's natural
Mhm.
bodybuilding. That's really
I
good.
mean, I could go into one that doesn't require drug testing, but I would, get last place. So it wouldn't
Yeah.
work well for me.
Yeah. I totally get that. Amazing. So what is on the cards for you now? I know you've got your competition coming up. You've got a book coming out. Again, another children's book, you said, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
then you've just opened up the outpatient clinic, or has that been open for a while now, did you say?
Since December, so I guess, about 6 months.
Still fairly
So
new.
it was already existing, so I just took it over, but definitely I have um made adjustments into the direction that I would like to take it. So it's been a kind of a transition period.
Hmm.
So um the way that our medical um I guess our medical industry works here in America is very different. So landing contracts with insurances and also with the local governments is something that I'm trying to do,
Hmm.
because it still is a business. It's a business of helping people, but it's also something where you have to be able to pay the bills to do so, right? And
Yeah.
the staff that can help.
Hmm. Exactly. Um, so yeah, you've just got a busy schedule for yourself for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I love everything that you're doing. What's your, I guess, your real why behind it all? Like, what's your passion within this? What's your mission statement, if you know what I mean? Like, what is your reason why you keep doing this and you want to help people at the end of the day? What's the big why for you?
I think that although everything that happened with my mother was a tragedy, right? Through that tragedy, I found my purpose. And I really helping other people become their best, right? Believing in themselves, having confidence. And all of that, as much as I help people with the physical aspect of, exercise and movement as medicine, I'm also helping them mentally as well, right? It all connects. And so I have a passion for bettering people's lives and for creating a lifestyle change for others. And I believe that it does take one day at a time. And although I first started helping people in just the fitness world, my dream was to help people in the recovery world as well. And now I'm able to do both, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, I couldn't leave this podcast without saying, my husband is like the best person ever, right? Like that one of the things I truly believe is that my mother left me with someone who would take care of me and who would support all of my endeavors and my dreams. And so, although she never got to see us get married, right? I've known my husband since, the third grade. So she knew him very well. And so I really feel blessed to also be married into his family who support and encourage me as well. So although, life doesn't always take the original plan that we might have for ourselves, when we are discovering who we are and what we're meant to do, like I said, it's a long way to the top. But, through that journey of self-discovery, we keep getting better and better, and we learn from our mistakes. And it's like I said at the beginning, it's the perseverance, because there's so many reasons every single day that we could give up on anything. But I feel that when you decide to take ownership of your actions, then you just become a better you, right? Um, there's no excuses, right? When we're in relationships with other people, like sometimes we do have to know that we are the problem, not them. And when you're able to be humble in that way, you really embrace who you are. And then organically, the people that are meant to be in your life who love you for who you are genuinely, that's who you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
But when we try to take on a different persona or mask how we're feeling with maybe substances, then we aren't who we are or who we're truly meant to be.
There's such a powerful message. Thank you so much for saying that. It's everything that like I advocate for too. Like I'm a nutritionist, but at the end of the day, I'm like you said, like it comes down to a lot of mind work, a lot of mentality, your emotional health, your mental health, physical, like spiritual, like it's all needed. There's not one that you need to work on more than the other, which is exactly what you were talking about. And as we were saying, the quick fixes out there, it's hard to try to get that message that like, no, just because you're working on one aspect of your health doesn't mean it's going to fix the rest. You need to work
Right.
on them all at once. So I love that message that you just said. It was so powerful. So thank you so much, Megan, for coming on. Now I'll pop in the show notes below. If you want to message Megan, send her a DM. I'll put her Instagram in, also her website. Is there anything else that you would love the listeners to know, how to contact you? I'll put your books down too that you've got coming out.
Sure, I'll put all of my information. One of the silver linings and blessings from COVID was that I opened up a whole new realm of virtual training. So people actually video into my groups and do their one-on-one, just like video on what you and I are doing. So that's a way that I can help more people. I mean, I do have clients, all over New York, France. So it's very cool. We just have to figure out the time, but it
Yes.
does work.
Yeah, well, it's working right now.
Sure.
Awesome. All right, cool. I will pop that down into the show notes below too. Thank you so much, Megan, for coming on today and sharing your story and your powerful message. It's going to help so many people listening out there. And I love what you do. I'm a huge advocate for it, and you're doing amazing.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you everyone for listening, and I will talk to you all in the next episode. Bye.